Nobody's talking about this, but leads to clients is not very much spoken about, meaning everyone focuses on lead generation, how to get more leads, how to get lower cost leads, but what about when you get the leads? How do you get them on the phone? How do you get them interacting with you? More importantly, how do you get qualified appointments onto your calendar that you can have a meaningful conversation with so you can turn them obviously into clients and help them achieve to go from A to B or whatever it is that you're offering to help them solve a problem. Hi, my name is Andrew and I'm with Smart Marketing Success. In this video, I want to share with you how you get from leads to qualified appointments on your calendar with ease, predictably and consistently, and finally solve the problem of the leads saying things like, I didn't opt in, that wasn't me, I'm not interested, they don't answer, all those sorts of things. But before we do, I do want to go through a couple of fundamentals that I hope you've got inside your business to make sure your professional service-based business, whether you're a coach, consultant, or professional service provider, it actually works for you. So, a couple of important steps so we don't get ahead of ourselves. The first thing, I'm assuming before you run ads for leads, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that's a good one, is that you make sure you've really gone down into understanding your ideal client profile, your perfect avatar. You've done an exercise to understand what their pain points are, what their unfulfilled desires are, and then how your service plugs into that to help them either get away from pain or help them to go from A to B. Once you understand that, then the second thing that you need, and that does most of the heavy lifting for anything inside your whole customer journey process, is that I hope you've crafted an irresistible high-value offer. An offer that speaks to your ideal client profile, and it's not about your service, but it's about them. If you have a right and strong offer in place, that is the overarching theme for your entire marketing and sales, and ultimately fulfillment. So you've got to make sure you've got a really strong, irresistible, high-value offer that you've crafted from what you do. From there, you also want to make sure if you've got lead generation running that you've got a really strong high value offer. That's your mini offer. And that typically is what's referred to as a lead generation magnet. You want to make sure that you've either created a free report or a VSL, like a video sales letter, like a webinar, or a video like the one like this, or something where you provide value. And it's all about your ideal client. It's not about you. It's all about showing them how they can go from A to B or be able to take a mini step. Doing so will help you get a torrential amount of new leads coming in. And secondly, it'll position you as the expert if they download your free report or they watch your video or they see your checklist or anything that you provide them helps them get a step closer to their unfulfilled desire or away from their pain point. So in other words, you're calling out what they're struggling with, and then you give them some guidance, some value, some teachings that actually helps them move closer to their ultimate goal. If you do that as a byproduct, you position yourself as a higher status frame and also more as an expert. Now, once you've got all that in place, and let's assume you do, you've got leads coming in. But now what no one talks about is how do you go from leads to qualified appointments? And here's some of the things that I see why people struggle with that. Number one, the everyday business owner just calls those leads like they call referrals. They call them, they leave a message, they leave a text, they leave an email, and if they don't get back, they're like, that lead was no good. Or if they call, they haven't really planned on what to say, they're not trained in sales, and they straight away create resistance on the phone. They might start the conversation with things like, hi, is this John? If you say a phrase like, is this name, you're already dead in the water. I don't call my mum on her phone and go, is that you? Of course it's her. So call them with whoever it is with their name. Go, hi John. If it's not, they'll tell you if it's a wrong number, but don't make the call with hi, is this? You sound like a salesperson immediately. The other phrase that we use, you must sound like you belong on the call. So if you're going to call a lead, say something like, hi John, it's Andrew. I'm just getting back to you about your inquiry about ABC. So in their mind, they know that you belong. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll just park that moment. This is what typically an appointment setter would do inside your business. So I'll come back to that in a moment. The first thing you really want to think about is when you've got your lead generation in place, which is the awareness stage, you then have the engagement stage and then the conversion stage. Now the conversion stage, let's say, is when you've got a qualified appointment and you're speaking to them and you're doing your sales process. That's for another day. What I want to focus on today is how do you bridge the gap from getting the lead to actually getting them qualified on your calendar. And the first thing you want to think about is having a robust engagement process in place, a communication process, if you will. And most people use either a spreadsheet or some ad hoc emails, and that doesn't cut it in today's day, in the way things are right now. Because people are highly skeptical and non-trusting. And the way you can reverse that is not by badgering them with phone calls and emails, hey, you made an inquiry, you want to book in, and all that stuff. It's salesy and it's all about you and not them. So why not just follow the same pathway in having created a high value offer? Meaning, if a lead comes in, number one, make sure you have a marketing software in place. One that preferably can do not just automatic emailing, but can do conditional logic with texting, voice message drops, and all those things. It should also have built in a booking calendar for you as well. We'll cover that in a sec. But in terms of your sequence of emails and text, they should go at least months, if not years. Hours go infinite. We loop them. So they go forever. The reason is people are ready at different stages. You don't just want to go for the top 3% that are ready to go now. Of course, we want them too, right? But you also want to think about your business long term. It's like a snowball effect. If you've got people coming into your pipeline and they may be interested but skeptical, they're not going to jump on the phone with you straight away because you're a stranger. You have to remember when you transition from referrals to open market lead generation that the one thing you do not have, you have zero trust. None, nada, nix, nothing, gone. So you have to go back to human relationship 101, like dating. And so what you want to do when you send out emails that are follow-up emails, please make sure they're educational. Don't just hit them over the head with, oh, you made an inquiry, book here, here's my, none of that. Send them good information, like your mini offer, continue that. Just keep educating them, give them more aha moments. The more aha moments you give them, the more value you provide in your emails, a few things happen. You build trust, decrease skepticism. They start to view you more as an expert, someone that you may be able to help them with, and they're more inclined to actually feel more influenced and compelled to actually want to jump on a call with you because it sounds like you know what you're talking about. So you really want to make sure that you provide educational ones. You also want to think about the common objections you get. You know, has somebody left it too late in life? My situation is different. Address that in the different emails with case studies, how you've helped somebody else. You know, recently we had a client that came with us, they had ABC issue and they thought XYZ. And so you want to be able to talk to them to kind of make sure they can see themselves in that. And if you do that correctly in an email, at the bottom you always then have the right to transition that, by the way, the information I give to you is of general nature. If you want to have a more personalized understanding of your situation, we can jump on a strategy call to go through your situation, see if we can possibly help, see what that looks like, and if we can talk about possible next steps. These are all the things you can do in an engagement series if you do them correctly. If you're generating leads, make sure that you don't just get name and email, get phone number as well, mobile number. You'll find your opt-ins don't decrease that much, but you've got another modality of being able to communicate with them, which is text. Now, maybe an email, only maybe around 20 to 30% actually open up and read an individual email that comes through. With text, it's virtually 100%, virtually. So you're really getting a much more cut through. I will say though, you want to be a little more sparingly with text because it is more invasive. So there's a trade-off. Now, once you have that, that's the pull method. Now, I want to show you how you can actually double your appointments because you'll have people that are in this engagement series go to a booking calendar. Now, before I get to how to double your appointments, make sure that the link that you provide in your emails doesn't just go to your website and they don't know what to do, or it goes to one of those ugly contact forms where you put in your name, email will get back to you. No one's in. I never leave my details for that. And when I have in the past, to be quite frank, no one's ever contacted me. So, and if they did, they probably missed each other. So make sure you've got a booking calendar where I can select the date, they can select the time, there are some questions which help you determine if you can help, if they're the right type of client to work with, and they actually then pop into your integrated calendar, whether it's Gmail or your Outlook calendar. Now, those booking calendars, you can start off with either built into your website, right? Or you can do something really simple like using Calendly. But make sure you do, and that the calendar also has an appointment reminder to make sure it reminds you and your prospect to actually show up for the meeting, right? Very basic, simple, but it works. Now that's the pull method, right? This is what pulls people along. You're educating them, they ascend, they trust you, they book in, and here we are. You've got appointments. Now, how do we double the amount of appointments you get from the same lead flow? And what we want to do from the pull method, which is all the emails, the sequences, we want to now overlay a push method. And what you want to do, you want to hire a VA for $6 an hour, an appointment setter. You get them in, make sure they are trained. If they're not trained, I can guarantee you they won't book anyone, and they will actually push away any type of leads that could you potentially get. They must sound really, really good. So if you're going to advertise overseas to get a VA to outsource, make sure that, I don't care about the resumes, what I care about is how they sound. So get them to do a recording for you. Do they sound natural? Do they sound conversational? And make sure you go out there and find a really good script of what to say, how to say it, how to use the right tonality, so when they actually call your leads and get in touch with them, they disarm the prospect, it's conversational, and they naturally want to book in with you. And from that alone, you will double the amount of appointments that you get from all those leads. And they can also, your VA can also help you with making sure they confirm your appointments. Now, one thing that I see people fail with all the time, the business owner decides, I don't need a VA, I'll call the leads myself. And the business owner's got no idea how to call leads. They think they do because they've been used to working with referrals, right? Which is like an arranged marriage. Easy, trust, everything else, good to go. When you're calling strangers and using the same way that you call referrals, 100% you will fall flat on your face, it won't work, and you'll get the usual, I'm not interested, I didn't opt in, sorry that was a mistake, you've got the wrong number. They'll just bounce because fight or flight resistance comes up when you call the wrong way, you use the wrong tonality, the wrong speech cadence, you use the wrong words on how to open them up, you don't know what to say to pull them in. So unless you've had professional sales training that you've practiced over and over, like when we work with VAs, we role play every day. We make sure that we don't sound like a boiler room, that we kind of sound soft, but we know what to say, what words to use. So you've got to teach somebody advanced questioning skills, what to say, what framework, to be able to open them up to see if you could possibly help, see what that looks like, and actually influence them to want to book on your calendar. If you get that right, you will have a huge amount of fully booked calendar every week of people to speak with. But that's the biggest problem, that people don't ensure that they have a good flow, and these are all interconnecting parts, by the way. You can't just, talk about one thing in your ads and then it's a different conversation. It must feel natural and congruent for the prospect to get the information that keeps building, that makes sense. The appointment setter calls, they know what to say, they're conversational, they know how to maneuver a conversation. If they get a little bit of resistance or objection, they know how to overcome that easily. If you have all that in place, I'm telling you, you've got a 7-figure business and beyond. Easily, you can just dial up your ads, get more leads, get more happening, it just snowballs, you got the appointment setters calling and so on, and then you end up with a fully packed calendar. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you inside the next one.